A very good morning to you guys. Welcome to Asake Online. This is the Civic Forum. My name is Brighton Ncube. We're live on Facebook. Today we're going to be talking to the Mandela Washington Fellow, that's Miss Tjedu Moyo. She has been to the years under the Mandela Washington Fellowship. So we're going to get to know more about the fellowship, how one can apply to attend that fellowship, and what are the benefits of attending that fellowship, and to hear from her in terms of her experience when she went there to the years to attend that fellowship. We're also live on Twitter this morning. Please do join if you're on Twitter, and also follow the discussion this morning around the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Good morning to you guys. Welcome to the show. Good morning to you, Tjedu. Welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Brighton.
Tell us a brief about Buhlebenkosi Tjedu Moyo. Who is Buhlebenkosi Tjedu Moyo in terms of civic space? What do you do?
Thank you so much for asking. My name is Tjedu Moyo. As you've already said, I work for an organization called the Alumni Center for Youth, which is quite young. It was founded in 2022, and we work to achieve a country with climate justice, gender equality, and equitable health service delivery for all young people. So if you look at it closely, we are trying to bridge the nexus between climate and health, and then we're mainstreaming young women in the process. So what we do, we look mostly at sexual, reproductive, maternal, neonatal, child and adolescent health. And now, in the context of climate change, we are really do talk a lot about nutrition. And the work that we do in the community, we increase the information levels to people and also try to have them to understand the importance of nutrition, the importance of good health-seeking behaviors, the importance of good sexual health, so that we can reduce the STIs, the unwanted pregnancies, and also the HIV and AIDS pandemic. And we also make sure that we do advocacy. So we do what we call the community to global level kind of work, because in the community, after we've engaged with the community, we go a step further and do advocacy to the relevant authorities to say, these are the challenges that people are facing in the community. Right now, most communities are faced with the El Nino challenge. There's drought. So we do talk about water challenges, how they're affecting sanitation, hygiene, how the young children, pregnant women are affected in terms of nutrition. So basically, that's the work that we do. And we do work closely with the Ministry of Health. We work closely with the Rural Development Councils so that we can have a sustainable, comprehensive approach to assisting the communities we work with.
Yeah, quite interesting what we're doing there as a Lunar Trust in terms of young people, and also touching on SRHR. Now let's speak about the Mandela Washington Fellow. Talk to us more about that. What is it all about? What is it all about, the Mandela Washington Fellow?
Yeah, so the Mandela Washington Fellowship is quite an amazing program. It's a flagship program of the U.S. State Department, and at country level, it's administered through the embassy and an organization called IREX. So it aims to empower young people between the ages of 25 to 35, but there is an exception for young people who are between 21 and 24 that are exceptional. Like in my cohort, we had somebody who was at around 23 because of the work that they've done. So what the program aims to do is to empower these young people with networking skills, with some, academic leadership modules, and also just to expose them to different organizations, non-governmental, companies, and how they work, so that when they come back home, they can then emulate what they learned there and try to, improve their communities. So if you realize the program, it works mostly with young people in that age group that are doing something in their community. These are young people that have stepped up. It could be somebody who has stepped up in the form of business, in the form of civic engagement, and in the form of public management. And they are then they enhance the skills that you already have. So they literally train you to become a better leader, and they expose you to other young people in the US.
You quite touched on those tracks, the civic leadership and civic engagement, public leadership, right? Guys, if you're just joining us, they were live on Twitter, APM, I see you, Senior, I see you, Elton, I see you. Please, guys, if you have any questions, please do pass your questions there via the comment section. I'm going to read out your questions to Buhle this morning. Let's speak to us more, Buhle, around the tracks that know the civic engagement. Speak to us more around those three tracks.
So the civic engagement track, it works mostly around people, what we commonly call NGOs. These are people that work in the communities with civilians. Doesn't matter what SDG, Sustainable Development Goal you're working on. So they touch on that. It could be public health, it could be climate action, it could be education, it could be poverty eradication, technology partnerships. And then the public management track, it mostly touches on these young people that are working in public companies, public government bodies, maybe people that could be working in the city councils, people that really work with people on a daily basis. And then the business track, these are the Elon Musk of today. These are the young people that are doing a lot of innovation, business innovation, and they're trying to bring in new products, new ideas to the market. So that's the business track.
But how was your experience, though, coming from Blantyre? I know coming from Blantyre, you're programming in Bulawayo and also in the rural areas of Zimbabwe, Matebele in particular. How was the experience going to the years under this Mandela Washington Fellowship?
So, first of all, the Mandela Washington Fellowship is big, like really big. It's a big thing, and not just in Zimbabwe, but in Africa as a whole, and in the US as a whole. When you get to the US and you are networking, you're talking to somebody and you say, hi, I'm a Mandela Washington Fellow, they want to listen to you, they want to talk to you. And like you said, coming from a very small village, not even a small town, but from a very small village, coming from a smaller city in Zimbabwe, and running a small organization and going there, it was, I think, my biggest highlight before we even talk about everything else. And the other second important thing is the caliber of the young people that you are going to meet, who are going to be a part of the fellowship. You know, these are young people that are doing amazing things. When they tell you, I run this company, or I run this organization, or I work in this government body, you look at them and you say, this is actually what I wanted to be when I grow up. And the kind of conversations that you then have are actually different. And so I feel like it's quite a good platform for any young person who really wants to see themselves going out there. Because what it does, it affirms who you want to be and what you're trying to do in your community. Because sometimes running these small organizations, we sometimes our ideas are too big, and maybe sometimes the people that we are around, they you know, when you talk to them, they're like, you know, Tjedu, you think you can build a youth center that big when I'm in Mango? You think you can reach all those young people? But you then go out there to the Mandela Washington Fellowship and you meet these young people that are leading students' organizations that have more than 59,000 people. And you'd be like, why can't I do it? So I think the biggest thing also is how it affirms who you want to be as a young person, who you want to be as a leader, because these are young people like you that come from these countries that you hear about every day, countries that have the same challenges that you face, young people that come from the same community that you come from, that if you go online, they are facing the same challenges. So it's also about affirmation, to say, this is you, Tjedu, this is the Lunia Center for Youth, but where do you want to take it in the next 5 years? This person from Cameroon has taken their organization there. So it's really also about affirmation and, you know, affirming you to say you are in the right step and it is possible. So for me, it was really an affirmation to say you are in the right position.
Yeah, maybe take us through the 6 weeks. I know 6 weeks, right? Through the 6 weeks, what are you guys doing? Workshops, seminars, trainings, what are you guys doing within the 6 weeks? I know you spoke about climate change issues, the El Nino issues, issue of AI as well. What are you doing within these 6 weeks as a part of as a fellow? Okay,
thank you so much. So in the 6 weeks, there's an academic course. You really go, it's a proper 9 to 5, actually 8 to 5, because one thing about the US also that I learned, it's time management, and people, you know, they use these timesheets properly. So when the session has to start at 8, it starts at 8. So there's an intense academic program. And then after the academic program, there's what we call networking sessions. All types of networking, you know, long-term networking, you can do speed networking, you can do speed dates and all these things. Some of the networking sessions are structured and some of the networking sections are not structured. And in the networking sessions, what the US community will be trying to do, they bring in the different people from the US community. Because like I said, the Mandela Washington Fellowship is not only big here in Zimbabwe, it's also big in the US. So these are people that then come in to say, we hear there's quite a number of young people here, you know, that are doing this amazing work. They come in, they listen to you. And sometimes these are people that are working on the things that you're working on. These are people that are working to maybe change the agro-food systems. These are people that are working on seeing how we can revive the water systems, because there's also communities that are facing the same challenges that you are facing. And then there's also sessions where you are attached to an organization during the 6 weeks. For us, we're going every Thursday. It's called community service. And then you're attached to an organization that does work that's close to what you're doing. Personally, I was attached to the Women's Center, and they were doing work around women's health, gender-based violence, and all these different cases. And when you go there, you are able to attend their sessions, you're able to facilitate some other sessions, and you're also able to maybe have a Q&A with the people that are running that organization to say maybe what are the unique challenges that you're facing, how can we come together. So I think for some people during their networking sessions, they have, gotten their business to the next level, because sometimes you are trying to solve a water problem here in Zimbabwe, and somebody has some maybe renewable energy solution that they are trying to upscale, and you could become partners. So during the 6 weeks, we're just alternating between those three things: academic sessions, community service, and networking sessions. Yes.
Guys, if you're just joining us, this is Civic Forum right on Asake Online. I see you guys were live on Facebook. I see you guys that joined in there. If you have any questions or contributions, please do pass your comments there. I'm going to read your questions, and then Buhle can respond to your questions there this morning. Please do pass your comments. Also on Twitter, I see you guys are tuned in on Twitter. Please do pass your questions to us. I'm going to read your questions, and then Buhle can respond to that. Buhle, maybe speak about the requirements. How can Brighton be part of this program? What are the requirements? Can anyone be part of this program? What are the requirements?
So first of all, any person within those within that age range can become a part of this forum. But also this this Mandela Washington Fellowship aims to enhance the skills of leaders. So you have to be doing something in the community already. And then you have to also be eligible to get a J1 visa to travel to the United States. And it does not matter what circumstance, you just have to be eligible to go there and do this work. And you have to be having a track record of something traceable that you are doing in the community, so that when you get there, you are able to do some work. Because what I realized when I got there is, if you go there without a goal, if you go there and you don't know what you are there for, you're going to meet these very focused young people. You're going to lose yourself. You won't be able to catch up. So when you go there, you have to have a goal. You have to have something that you're already doing, that you feel like if you go, if you then apply and go to the US, you're going to take your thing from one point to the next level. So those are the requirements. It's very competitive in nature, but it's also really open to anyone who's willing to participate. And for the record, you don't have to pay at any stage of the application. So you don't have to find yourself paying anyone to attend. So it does not matter whether your financial background, anyone can apply.
So these are young people coming across from across the world, right? Come up with different solutions to say, I'm going to solve this for my community, right? Let's look at Buhle in terms of the problem that you wanted to solve in terms of coming from your community. What is your initiative all about?
Thank you so much. So like I said, I work with the Lunia Center for Youth, and we are looking at public health, climate change, and gender equality. In terms of my focus project during the Mandela Washington Fellowship, I was very ambitious because I wanted to get funding for about 2 boreholes so that we can have a community garden in my community, and then in Guanyana, and then maybe women can then get garden-based initiative, education, and also some, nutrition, that they can come, and then we can have a conversation about reproductive health and nutrition, all those pregnant women. Then after that, they can go home with a bunch of vegetables. So that was my dream when I went there, and I did get quite a number of people that are interested in the idea, but of course there is no place where money is just found on trees, so we're still trying to mobilize for money for that project. But I would love to say I really got quite a number of people that were interested, and we got to visit some of the farms around where they are doing exactly the same work, because nutrition is quite a thing. And sometimes when we're having these conversations to people about reproductive health, about nutrition, it's hard to have a conversation with somebody whom would see, for them to get a bunch of vegetables is a challenge. So for me, that was the project idea, and we're still developing it. What I managed to do when I was in the US was to really be able to write it and clarify my objectives, so that when I give that proposal to somebody, they're able to read through. Because when I went there, it was just an idea and things were scattered all over. But when I got there, I was assigned a coach who helped me to refine the project, and we agreed to say, no, we are going to take it one step at a time. So when we win, finally, we are maybe then going to be able to have those 2 boreholes and that big garden and support the community. Yes.
I see a question coming through from a WhatsApp platform this morning. Someone says, if I'm disabled, can they cater for my to the fellowship? Will they cater for my needs as well, special needs? Do they accommodate my needs as a disabled person?
Absolutely. The US and actually from here, when you leave from the embassy, as soon as you have been accredited to be a Mandela Washington Fellow, you become the responsibility of the embassy. And most of the disabled fellows that we had in our cohort, they had somebody who was accompanying them. And that somebody also, they are actually also still given a stipend. They are treated like a fellow, and they are also given a visa, and they are also everything that they need. They are treated like everyone else. You wouldn't even be able to tell the difference between the fellow and whoever is assisting. So the fellowship is very much open to people with disabilities, and it's going to support you even an extra mile if you need some maybe emotional support, if you need any kind of support, even for pregnant fellows. We had quite a number of pregnant fellows. You know, if you need support with maybe your prenatal vitamins, maybe you're feeling emotional, because these are people with different emotional needs, you know, they are able to cater for that, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that everyone, despite their abilities, is able to participate fully. Yeah. You won't even tell the difference. Actually, with the disabled fellows that way, they were saying, we don't want to go back home because the treatment here is so good. So it's really, I'd really recommend anyone and everyone to apply, despite whatever challenge you have. You just disclose it in your form when you're applying, or you talk to, you know, somebody, and then they will cater for you exactly the way you need to be catered for.
So the young people watching the show this morning, they want to know any tips that they can use when they're applying for this program. Any tips I can share with them this morning?
The most important thing is be original in your application. Do not go to ChatGPT and say, please generate for me a statement around doing work in my community. Be original, Brighton. Talk about who Brighton is, what they are doing, and what they need the program to assist them with. Because the application questions, they are divided into short answer, the general, who you are, where do you stay, and stuff like that. And then there's essay questions that I believe do maybe set the difference between the cream and the milk. So you have to be original in your answers, and you have to be able to be straight to the point. Do not run around your issues and say things that you're doing in the community, because there is power in originality. You know, I know the biggest challenge that us young people we want to write these big words in our applications, and you know, but sometimes it does not tally. Also, make sure that your social media it aligns with what you do. If you go there and you say, oh no, I've done this work, and then they go to your LinkedIn, because they are going to ask for your LinkedIn, they are going to ask for your Facebook page, they are going to ask for your Instagram. So it's not to say if you're not posting anything you're not eligible, but make sure that you align and be very original. Originality is the best. Yes, you can spice up things, but do not take Brighton's application and make it like it's Tjedu's. Brighton and Tjedu are different. We could have similarities. We're both young people, we're both doing work in the community, but what Tjedu does has a niche to it. It's got something different, and what Brighton does has got something different. So be very original. And now, because we've got quite a number of alumni, so you can just talk to any of the alumni to say, can you please read my application and help me to write this, because it doesn't matter whether you've traveled before or not. Other people, it was their first time to travel to the US or even outside their countries. Other people, they did not have organizations. It's just about who you are, what you've done, but if you put it in a way that you know you're eligible, then you're going to get it.
So with how big is networking and building synergies with other people? I know young people are coming from across the world. Some said Cameroon, coming from Nigeria and different places across the world. How big is networking and also building synergies with other young people across the world?
So if there's something that the Mandela Washington Fellowship taught me, that even before I went, I did not consider as big, is the power of networking. And when you're networking with a goal. because networking is really a big thing. Such that if you don't network properly or if you don't network at all, you will not see yourself moving from one point to the next. Number one, networking is in two ways. Sometimes we are just people, maybe we are fellows or we are in the community, and we think, oh no, I have to network with somebody in the embassy, or I have to network with somebody who works at a ministry. But sometimes the person that you need to network with is the person who's next to you. So what we learned in the US was we had unstructured time where we had to network with each other as fellows. Just talk to somebody from Uganda, find out what are the challenges they are facing when they're talking about reproductive health and what are they doing. You find that they have this different, interesting, talk about podcasts, and, in Africa, data is an issue, and you talk to people, be like, how are you managing sharing your podcast to people? And they tell you about these listening sessions, and now, what they're looking for is funding to go and have listening sessions, and you are trying to give people data, which is different. So with networking, it's really about networking with each and every person that you meet. It does not matter if the results of your networking are immediate. You can have results 5 years later or 7 years later. But networking is such a big thing. And when you're networking, have a goal. Know who you are. What is it that you're offering? What is it that you're doing in the community? So the fellowship is actually going to teach you how to craft that. Because like I was saying, I went there with an idea. It was scattered all over. But when I came back, I knew exactly, word for word, what is it that I wanted in 5 minutes. If you say in 5 minutes, Tjedu, tell us what you wanted to do, I can tell somebody and they understand. And it's a learning process. I did not come back perfect. But networking is so big, and you never know the outcome. In the US, people are actually different. When somebody is rich, you will not know that this person is rich. You will not know that this person is leading a foundation that has 20 million to disperse in the next 6 months. So you can say, no, this one is not wearing Gucci. Let me look for somebody who's wearing a suit. We actually had some of the people who would say, you know what, I have one suit that I wear to funerals only, which is so normal to them, because also the other thing is the culture is very different. So when you're now in the US, which is also something that we could learn and bring back home, to say when we network with everyone and we network with a goal, but that the results may not be immediate. It's a long-term process. It's about building these relations, like this, this friendship, this professional friendship where that, oh no, I know that person does that, and when I need something, I can get it from them. So this is what I learned about networking, and I think it's something that I'm ready to implement. Yeah. Maybe 2-3 years later, we are going to see different, results out of the networking.
Great. Guys, if you just join us, this is Civic Forum. My name is Brighton, and my guest for this morning is Mandela Washington Fellow alumni, that's Tjedu Moyo this morning. If you have any questions or contributions, please do pass them. We're live on Facebook, we're live on Twitter as well. Guys, on Twitter, I see you, and those I see on Facebook as well. Please do pass your questions and contributions. If you have any questions, she can answer all those questions to you. Now, let's move on to the issue of impact. I know impact is very big when it comes to these organizations, right? How did this fellowship maybe have an impact on your professional life or personal life?
So, like I said, the Mandela Washington Fellowship is very big. And people, when they know that you're a Mandela Washington Fellow, the way they look at you and the way when you talk to them, they listen. Because as young people, what we are looking for somebody who's going to listen when we are trying to say something and when we are trying to talk to them. So if there's something that I saw happening during the fellowship, as soon as I announced that I'm officially a Mandela Washington Fellow, I saw this different type of engagement with me and also with the organization. So the Mandela Washington Fellowship, what it also does, it puts a light on the work that you've already done. It makes people to be able to see you. So it's going to increase the work that you've already done, because we do know that for you to be selected, you already have done amazing work. So it's going to increase it puts you in the spotlight, not just at home here in Zim, but all over the world. When you tell some of the partners that you've been working with to say, oh no, for the 6 weeks, I'm not around, I'm not in the office, I'm attending the Mandela Washington Fellowship, they are shocked, they are excited, they're like, oh wow, this is so amazing. So it's actually going to increase your impact. And now that you have access to these other people, when I was going, an alumni told me that the best way to get anything that you need is during the fellowship. Send emails to people. Talk to people before you even go. You know, send the emails to people, Google organizations that you want to talk to, and make sure that they know that Uchetu is coming here and she is going to need to engage with us. Because these people, they actually have an open door policy, but the fellowship is actually going to, you know, open up, you know, have you access these people. So the impact is so big and it's long lasting, because after the fellowship, you become a part of the alumni. Right now we have about 6,700. So you become a part of this alumni and, you know, access all these resources because you have that alumni badge. So it's really long lasting, and it starts as soon as you receive to say, congratulations, and I'm a Mandela Washington Fellow. You announce it in your pages and you leave your time in the US, and when you come back home, it's different. I think it's a step really in the right direction when it comes to your leadership journey.
Someone on Twitter here is asking about the issue of coming from Mango, right, in Plumtree, Matabeleland South. We want to do balls for the community, and going to the US. How was the experience like in terms of a small community, small rural area community, and we try to bring a solution to the community in rural areas? How the experience they're going and pitching to the people there in the US? Say, guys, I want to drill balls for my people back home in rural areas. How was the experience there?
So first of all, it's you have to understand that you're talking to people that do not have the same background as you. It's a very diverse community. You're talking to people that don't understand when you say you don't have water. But these are people that understand the concept to say drought is an issue that's existing. So first, having these conversations with people, you have to be patient. You have to talk to them. You have to make them understand. You need to have the map, zoom in, you know. Today's maps, because of AI, you can see the dry areas, you can see the vegetation index and stuff like that. You have to make them understand sub-Saharan. These are people that, you know, maybe have never been outside maybe the US, or these are people that it's the different context to yours. So what's important for me was the patience in making them understand. But what was common in all of us was the desire to assist our community, and was the understanding that there is an ongoing drought and people are going through the most. My role was to facilitate the process of understanding, and their role was to then get to a point where we say, this is our level playing field and where can we meet each other. One thing that's important in the US that I realized is there's this culture of meeting people where they are. So it doesn't matter how different your challenge may sound. These people are going to come in and meet you where you are and then say, okay, this is where you are. Can we start here? And then let's go forward together. Let me hold your hand. Let's go forward together. Of course, as a I don't know if it's because as a young person, sometimes you feel like you're being too vulnerable. You're asking for too much. You want to also change and say, oh no, my community is okay. But having done the work that I've done, I've been in this industry for about 5 years. You know that if you don't do that work, then somebody else is going to continue to suffer. So when you go there, you're vulnerable. But the good thing is the space is safe for you to be vulnerable. They know that you're not asking for those resources because you just want to, but they know that you really need it. And you also have to be very honest in your initiative as to what you want to do. Like I said, people's challenges are different. You know, so your role is to facilitate the understanding and be factual, have very honest facts, and then you see where it goes.
Let's talk about the application. Is it open now? When is the deadline for the applications?
So the applications opened on the 13th of August. On the 13th of August.
So for next year?
Yes, for 2025. And this means that if you haven't started your application, you have to make sure that you start your application now, and they are closing on September the 10th. So the deadline is almost close. But what is important is for you to send in your application and make sure that you are a part of those people that are considered. Because also the selection process is really an open one. If you deserve it, you're going to get it. And for our cohort with about 40 young people that went to the US. So it means there is a wide, chance of any of the applicants who has applied to get selected. So 10 August, the applications are going to be closing, because also this is a very competitive process about 59,000 people apply AA. It's more competitive than Harvard. So if you apply in late, you're also putting yourself in jeopardy. But if you apply on time and you also give yourself time to read your essays and all that stuff, you are giving yourself a better chance.
So 10 September actually, it's closed on the 10th of September, right?
Yes, yes.
The issue of essays. I know most young people, they say, these essays are long, I don't have time to write those. Speak to us more about those essays in terms of time that you take in terms of applying for that fellowship.
Contrary to popular belief, the Mandela Washington Fellowship essays are not very long. They are not very long. It's just, they actually call them personal statements. It's like I was saying, it's you saying what you need to say in about 250 words, 350 words. You won't get an essay that's too long, honestly. And when you have something to say about yourself, about your work, you won't struggle to reach those 250 words. And this is also where the other alumni comes in. This is also where maybe you can call somebody from the US Embassy to say, can we please have an information session, because we are also going to be having a couple of these information sessions. But the essays are not very long, and these are straightforward. They will ask you maybe a question like, tell me about yourself. It's not hard to tell somebody about yourself. If you're out there, go somewhere and you say, tell us about yourself, you can speak the whole day. But now you have to say that in a more professional manner and try to align it to what you do and what you want to do if you have a set goal for your life. So it's not hectic. I don't think the essays are hectic. And I think if you approach it with that mindset, it actually makes them to be less hectic. Of course, the writing is problematic, but like I said, be original. Also, if you are original, when they say tell you about yourself, you just write, this is Tjedu Moyo, this is an organization that I work where I do this work, and before you know it, you are at 500 words and you have to cut the words actually. So the essays are not really bad. They are just straight to the point, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. They won't ask you rocket science, it's just about yourself. It's called personal statements. Yes.
So where can one find the application forms to apply and also submit those essays?
So you have to check the Mandela Washington Fellowship website. It's running perfectly fine, and that's where you're going to get all the other information, all the technical information about the program, and then also the application link and all this stuff. And if you are dedicated, you can finish your whole application in 2 or 3 days. You just wake up, maybe you do some questions a day, because the first part is general information, your name, surname, date of birth, and all this other information. And then when you get to the essay part, that's where maybe you can take a day and a half, but also maybe you have to, I really advise people to get their essays reviewed by somebody, so that maybe you can get a second, eye on your essay, but you can finish in your application in 3 or 4 days, really. If you are making sure that this week I'm focusing on my application, you'll be done.
So deadline for application is 10 September. Guys, if you just joined us on Twitter, the deadline for a Mandela Washington Fellow for 2025 is 10 September. And if you want to apply, you can go to the Mandela Washington Fellow, their website, to check all the details there. And my guest this morning is Tjedu Moyo, the Mandela Washington Fellow alumni. Tjedu, your closing remarks. What can you say to people at home watching the show, want to be part of this fellow? You've been trying. I know sometimes we try 2 times, 3 times, but we fail to make it to the finalists. What can you say to someone who's been trying for over years? This time, they're hearing your story. What can you say to them?
What I can say is where there is a will, there is a way. If you continue trying, eventually you're going to get into the fellowship. And also just to say that the fellowship is not for, like, it's for everyone. Once you look at it like it's for everyone, I'm also eligible for this, then you get it. For me, I had been trying for quite a long time, and I was even trying to get when I was 21 because I used to tell myself that I'm exceptional, but when I tried, at 25, I really got it. And you have to continue trying, and you have to know that what you're going to get out of the fellowship is lifelong. So sometimes I know we try and then we give up, we say, I'm now giving up. But you just have to continue trying, especially when you have a goal. You know what you want out of the fellowship. Then you're just going to continue trying and know that what you're going to get out of the fellowship is lifelong, and it's going to assist you in your journey. So keep trying. It's not discriminatory. The process is very, very, very fair, and it's an amazing experience. Despite the academic experience, even the socialization it's amazing. It's gonna open up your mind. I think this is where the word exposure that we as Zimbabweans that we love come in. It's actually gonna give you a lot of exposure. You know, socially, you're just gonna see things from a very different eye, and when you come back here, you know, it's actually different. So it's worth it. At all costs, it's worth it.
Someone's asking here, says that maybe I missed the issue of the age range. Maybe you can explain to us around the age range. The age range around who can apply for this?
Yes, the age range is between 25 to 35. But if you're an exceptional young person, between the ages of 21 to 24, you can also apply. So we can say between the ages of 21 to 35. So it's actually very much open to anyone that age, as long as you're doing work in your community and you're eligible. Yes.
Senora, I see you there on Twitter, and Kabzela, I see you on. I can't take your mics. Please do write your comments there. I will read your comments via the comment section there. Please do write there via the comment section under the space there. I can't take your mic. It's because we're live on Facebook as well. Please do write your comments or questions to Buhle this morning. Then I can read them to hear. She can respond to that. As we wait for Senora to write and Kabzela to write the questions to you, Buhle, what can you say in terms of building synergies? Which we spoke about earlier, to say as young people go there to network sometimes. But also, I mean, I don't have an organization, but I want to go there and also showcase what I do in terms of my community and so on. What can you say in terms of helping someone to start up their own startup organization, and also to be there to say, I want to build this, you know, meeting other people, they're networking with other people?
Thank you so much, Brighton, for that one. So like I said earlier, not everyone who goes there has an organization or has this groundbreaking idea that has attracted millions and millions of people. Ordinary young people are found at the Mandela Washington Fellowship, but what sets them apart from every other young person is the work that they are doing in the community. They could be working with an organization, they could be working with, you know, in the community. They could be doing this amazing work. We have young people that are artists that are doing this beautiful art, you know, in the community, poetry and stuff like that. So when they get there, the important thing is, you know, you can make an impact in your community even without an organization, even as you work for a certain, you know, organization, even as you do your work, you know, no matter how small. What matters is how impactful is your work and how needed is your work in the community. So we had a lot of different young people in the fellowship, you know, who had different ways of making impact. We had young people that are communication officers for organizations. We had young people that are working, you know, administrators for maybe public institutions. We had young people that are working maybe as programs officers for organizations. But what sets them apart is the different work that they've done in their community. So really building synergies is very important, and it also depends on you as an individual. How do you want to make a change in your community? Do you want to have an organization? Do you want to engage with people as you are, or it's just different? Because impact is really different. It's not the same for everyone, but everyone else has a different impact that they are making in their community. So as young people, as you are there, you engage with people differently, and you get to see that, oh, this work is still amazing. There are people that don't have organizations, but they've you know, these young people that they mentor every day, you know, so it's very much different. The type of impact is different. And also there's the different tracks. If you feel like maybe you don't fall in the civic engagement track, you can still go maybe in the business engagement track, in the business track, or in the public management track. You just check on where you fit, exactly where your kind of impact fits, because somebody is maybe working every day to try and maybe merge AI with, you know, something else, and that's business engagement, that's innovation, and you say, oh no, I'm doing it in this track. So it's not really attached to organizations only, it's really open to any kind of impact that you are making, and you try to fit it in those three tracks.
The comment coming though from Kavisile says, my comment on authenticity, I worked on the program for years, and it's very easy to spot applicants while applying for the same PF applying, so be authentic. So that's a comment coming from Kavisile. So speak about the issue of authenticity. There's an issue that we spoke about that of the issue of the PD, something around that. Explain to us around that, to say some are going for 6 weeks, some they can go for 3 months. Explain to us more around that before we close off the show this morning.
Oh yes, thank you so much about that one. So it's called PTE, Professional Development Experience. So collectively, a total of 700 applicants are selected from sub-Saharan Africa. But then there's 100 young people that are going to be selected competitively to attend what we call professional development experience. So professional development experience is when you are attached to an organization, a company, a university, or whatever institution to then have hands-on experience on the work that you are doing in your community. And it really is aligned to the work that you're doing back home. So after the 6 weeks, the PTE fellows, they then go for another 4 weeks. That's another month. And they'll be working directly with the company. So if you're a communications officer or you're a programs officer or you're an admin person at your work or you're a poet, you're then attached to an organization that's doing that work. And then every other day you then get experience to say, how does it work in other organizations? How do they, what systems are different? What can I implement differently? So it's more like an internship, but it's also very important to say that the J1 visa that you're going to be given does not permit employment or any payment of any kind. So what you could be given is a stipend, but it's not paid. And this is important so that you focus on the work that you're doing. And also when you're now maybe looking for employment, you have, because the Mandela Washington Fellowship certificate, they also give you a certificate at the end of the day. It's very powerful. Yeah.
Maybe lastly, Buhle, on the emphasis of opening date and the closing date or deadline.
Thank you so much. So the applications opened on the 13th of August. So we have about 2 weeks in, and I know they've been coming in. And then they are closing on the 10th of September. So on the 10th, I do recommend that on the 9th of September, you have already sent in your application. Do not send your application on the 10th at 11 o'clock because the network will fail you and then you'll be so sad. So just make sure you send your application on the 9th. And I do advise that if you're really, really interested, get your application reviewed by somebody and also just send, on time and relax and breathe in and just wait for the outcome. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Civic Forum, talking about the Mandela Washington Fellow. Thanks so much for the great work that you're doing in the communities.
Thank you.
Well, guys, you've been watching the Civic Forum. My name is Brighton Ncube, and my guest for this morning is Buhlebenkosi Tjedu Moyo, the Mandela Washington Fellow alumni. She has been there, done it, experienced it, and a great dream is to build a drill balls in community in Mangwe, that's Plumtree there. So yeah, hope your dream comes alive one day, Buhle. And guys, thanks so much for tuning in on Twitter. I see you, Signoro. I see you, Gajeni. I see you, APM. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. It's been lovely hanging out with you. Via simulcasting on Facebook as well as on Twitter this morning. It's been lovely hanging out with you. Please do follow the site on all platforms: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, we're there, Facebook are there, and go to our YouTube platform and subscribe to become a member of our YouTube platform. And also do follow on Twitter, she's there as well, and the organization is there on all platforms. From myself, Brighton Ncube, it's been lovely hanging out with you this morning. It's bye for now.